إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله فقد أمرنا الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما ثم أما بعد. In our khutbah last week, for those of you that were here, we discussed the very important topic and the concept of success and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala defines success in the Quran. And we talked about it that our definitions need to be redefined in the context of the realities of the world. You cannot tell your child who happens to be, let's say, the best swimmer in the world, even Michael Phelps, the best swimmer in the world, and there's a storm in the Atlantic Ocean, and you tell him, inshallah, he will survive. The fault is on who? The parents, not the child. Last night, before I left for Isha, a father came to me crying, and his only plea was, my son has left Islam. Can you bring him back? That same corridor, that same spot we were standing. What happened? He went to university and never came back. So this is not a reality that you and I can say, chalo, chalo, kuch nahi hota, let's, shove it, let's hide it. Let's put it underneath the rug and we can walk away from it. So a lot of parents came to me and said, so what's the solution? I said, that's exactly what I wanted you guys to think about. Why do you think I left the solution behind? Because I want an entire week for everybody to really think about it, that there has to be a solution. And in the example that I gave earlier, the solution is that if your son has to, or your daughter has to traverse the Atlantic Ocean, you provide him a very powerful and a strong vessel. So his chances of survival increase. That's all you can do as a parent. I read for you a passage today in English. Going away to university is a priceless opportunity to mature and thrive intellectually, socially and politically. For the Jewish students, it is also an opportunity to deepen and broaden one's Jewish identity and to enhance the sense of commitment and responsibility to the greater Jewish community on campus, at home, nationwide, and throughout the world. Here at Shabbat, which is the Muslim Students Association version of the Jewish people, we pride ourselves of creating a home away from home for all Jewish students in Georgia Tech and Georgia State. Our home is open to students and we welcome them with warmth and family love care. We strive to create meaningful relationships while preserving their identity as Jewish students and broaden their spectrums and provide them safe havens. Through our diverse and dynamic programming, and I'll get to that in a second, we offer everything from a weekly Shabbat service led by our main rabbi of Georgia. The main guy goes there to protect the kids. Over here, if I miss one salah, the entire community is upset that why did the Imam go? Why was he not there for Isha today? We really need to rethink these things. Then, dinner services, excursion trips, exciting events, social activities, dinners, engaging Jewish educational opportunities, leadership camps for Jewish kids to lead in the Jewish communities. We understand that as parents, now they're talking to the parents, those students over there, there can be many worrisome moments for your child as they're attending university. That is why we want you to know that we are here for you. A team of 15 full-time staff members. There's no masjid in Atlanta that has 15 staff members. They hardly make it to one imam and they're like, bahut ho gaya. Rethink. We have to rethink as a community. We have no problem going to lavish banquets, davatein, spending tons of money, catered food. Every person is trying to make the best mene. Oh, that person served mango lassi, I'm going to have mango lassi and achar with it. Right? Every person is trying to up the ante in a communal battle that we're having with one another to show off to one another, where our entire generation is being lost. Now, I want you to look at this. If you go and find who they are, they have a CEO for this organization. Our Muslim Students Association people, when they came to me and I was here in March, they wanted to do 2 or 3 iftars. No masjid was willing to support them. Right? This goes to the management of this masjid and every other masjid. Right? And literally there are people in the community that I reached out to them personally and they donated $500. Now, in Georgia Tech alone, there are 20 chaplains. Now, I want you to understand the word chaplain. Chaplain is a person who is appointed by the community. He is paid by the community. The community pays the salary of this person. How much is it? 80,000 to 100? They pay the salary. His job is to be on the campus to protect the iman of those children. There are 20 chaplains. I counted on the website. Not one is the Muslim chaplain. Even the Zoroastrians, there's only 75 Zoroastrians in Georgia Tech. They have a full-time paid chaplain of $60,000 salary. Wake up, people. It's your kids that you're destroying. You go to Emory, they have chaplains for every faith. If you go to the Muslim chaplain, it says to be decided. Because nobody in the community is willing to pay the salary of a person who can save the iman of those children. They don't care. When they do care is when, like that father, he comes last minute and everything is gone. There's nothing we can do at that point. So as a community, we need to have our concept of imam redefined. And we have to correct this concept of the responsibility of iman. I can go on and on and on about stats, but I think it's enough for you guys to wake up and understand what the reality is on the ground. The primary responsibility when an imam is hired in a masjid is to establish the sha'ira, the sign, the visible sign that there are 5 daily prayers in the masjid. That's number 1. But as most of the scholars would agree, that is the least important job that he has. His value in the community is not driven by just leading salah. That is an important task. There should be people appointed to deliver that task, led by the imam himself, if he's available. But the greater responsibility of the imam is education. To educate the community. To do ihtimam, to be concerned about the education of the community. Every single one of us yesterday who prayed Isha, they were there, you saw the 7 or 8 kids that were making the noise. And they've been making noise in every Shama'il class. And every single one of us, the elders and the younger, everybody knows the adab of the masjid. All it takes is love and care to sit these kids down and explain to them. You know, when I asked one of the kids yesterday, like, why were you talking? He said, all of you guys say loud Ameen anyways. That small child doesn't know. He's 5 years old. He says, everybody screams Ameen, why can't I talk? Why are you telling me not to talk? He doesn't know. So that conversation and care is what Imam, but most importantly, the regular musallis are responsible for, to pass on that torch, that adab, rather than us getting frustrated. And I know it is very difficult. When I'm praying and I have some kid running around, it's frustrating. But your frustration is going to be rewarded if that child's iman is protected. We got to look at the long-term vision. So the primary responsibility, the secondary primary responsibility is that masjid in general should have a higher level of understanding of deen. The masses should not make mistakes in their wudu. The masses should have the basic understanding of walking with socks in the bathroom is not tahara. Right? Fiqh. understanding of Allah, connection with Quran, connection with Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Once those are established in the masjid, then there is a third responsibility of the imam, which is communal tarbiyah, the tarbiyah of the community, which you noticed when we conducted our Friday night halaqas. There was a meticulous plan put in place by the sisters and the team that was there, literally postcards, creating a culture of tarbiyah, of how to behave in a Quran class. And last Friday was the best class we had. Not once did I have to tell anybody, do not talk. But it took us 9 to 10 weeks to get there. It took us a team of 12 to 15 people constantly reminding, do not talk, put the phone down, this is the time of the Quran, that adab, that communal adab. Okay? And when we are instilling that communal adab, you're going to have to make decisions that people are not going to be happy with. But that's part of an imam's responsibility, to look forward and say, yes, little bit of pain, but for better pleasure in the future. So the communal tarbiyah not only takes place in the masjid, because in the masjid, you and I all combined in all the masajids, everything, and if I give a generous, that every masjid has a crowd of 1,000 people, we will still not reach 1% of the Muslims living in entire Georgia. The 99% of the Muslims that are out there, that's the other responsibility of the imam, to figure out how he can make himself available. When the Pakistani Doctors Forum is having their thing, and obviously their invites, they're not very religious people, they're good Muslims, they know what they know. And when they invite an imam, right, 2 of us were invited for something, and me and another imam, we went there, we felt out of place, but our responsibility is to bring those brothers and sisters who are Muslims, but they have a misunderstanding about Islam. They have a misunderstanding about Quran. About they may have been treated badly somewhere and they have taken a backseat approach and said, we don't want to get involved in masjids. Our job is to bring them. When our brothers that came, I don't know if they're here, from Kazakhstan, you know, there's a national champion of wrestling for Kazakhstan. He's amongst us, if he's here for Jummah today. He's visiting us. And I was so excited because I saw another community represented in this community. They're coming to the center, mashallah, that's amazing. And that outreach is one of the primary responsibilities of the imam. But that cannot be done if he is tied to 5 daily prayers. And the people who were involved in me coming here, I was very clear about my vision. Right? That I will be here to support ilmi, but salawat, there are much better people that can lead salah better than me. You have Hafiz Yusuf here, you have our own Hufaz, they're much better than me in leading salah. Hafiz Mahmoud is here. They are more worthy because that's their skill they're good at. My job is to chaperone them so they can perform that job. Or any other imam for that sake. Literally, I was so hurt. I met an imam. We were sitting on that chairs over there. He came to me and he said, there's a masjid in Atlanta that offered him a job. And he wanted my advice. And they asked him, they said, as part of your responsibility is you have to clean bathrooms. This is a masjid in Atlanta. Shame on those board members. How could you ask a person to lead salah? Yeah, if he does it out of his own will, alhamdulillah. But to make it part of his job responsibility and fire the cleaner? Wake up, people. This is not going to end well for us as a community. The next part, the next responsibility of the imam, after he is completely done with engaging with the community, is to spread the message of this masjid or any other masajid that he's in, not to just the 4 corners and 4 walls of this masjid, but to other people. And alhamdulillah, with our technology that we have invested in, it is paying off. You have more than 15,000 people that have been viewing our content. And inshallah, we hope that by next year it's in 1.5 million. Right? The number is even greater. The benefit has to go beyond that. The third responsibility is to look at the leaders of our community, within our community, and have structured tarbiyah sessions for those leaders of the community within our community. Private gatherings with them so that their iman level can be resurrected, because we are nothing but the followers of who our leaders are. And all of that cannot be done by one man. It is a responsibility of an entire ecosystem that we'll have to build. The Baptist Church of Georgia has deployed, just in Georgia alone, 58 chaplains. 58. Each one of those chaplains, their salaries are coming out of either a group of doctors and engineers together and say, I will donate this much to this charity and I will pay. Or it is coming from a specific fund that has been created in all of the masajids combined. When the Georgia Tech people came to me, and they have alhamdulillah finalized an MSA, has finalized a chaplain. He happened to be the one who gave the khutbah 2 weeks before me, Brother Zubayr. He has now agreed that he'll take out some time from his work and he'll spend 10 hours on the campus. They came to me and they said, but we don't have any money. We hired a person, but how are we going to pay him? We don't have any money left. I mean, we have barely enough money to do pizza and some basic things. So as a community, we have to start rethinking that an imam's sole responsibility doesn't just lie in salahs. That's a wrong understanding of imam. That is our understanding of the imams of India, Pakistan, Saudi, those countries. That's all the imam does. He comes, yusalli salawat wa yukhallas, khalas. He comes, leads salahs, and he's gone. He's not involved in any education. He's not involved in any segment of the society. So to protect our kids, we have to start thinking how we as a community can start supporting our students on campus. In Toronto alone, in one university, we have something called the Muslim Chaplaincy of University of Toronto. For example, just that chaplaincy program, their operating budget is close to $500,000. They have female chaplains, male chaplains, all of these people who are graduates of Sharia and graduates of psychotherapy, and they can provide spiritual care, they can provide mental health care, they can provide all of these cares that our kids and our students that are when they are on campus desperately need. So as a community, my ask is to everyone that as we come across this school year, let's start thinking about this. Right? It's, again, somebody has to take the charge on that. That how are we going to put together a task force and saying our kids eventually are going to go to university. The solution is that we have to fortify their iman on campus. We have to look for other people that can come, and not just 10 hours a week. Because Muslim Students Association are the third largest minority on the group, on the campus. We are a very big segment of the society, and it's pretty sad that we don't have anybody there. If you go to the Georgia State University and look at all the religious groups that are there, and this is so painful to see, and it could be, benign neglect, but it's not an acceptable thing. As we were there, I clicked on one, and I clicked on second, and I clicked on third, and I clicked on fourth, and I clicked on fifth, and when I clicked on the Muslim Students Association, it says, please update the subscription for this website. You haven't paid. That just tells you where our students' associations are. On the contrary, the Shabbat Association had 15 different ways or something to donate. You can Venmo, you can this, you can Cash App, this app, this app. And when you click on that donation app, the first donation amount is $5,800. Please donate to cover the cost of one student. Every single one of us can donate $5,800 a year. You just need to skip on your Starbucks or your coffee fetishes. That's it. And you can. But it's at what expense and cost? أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه فإنه هو الغفور الرحيم. If I can ask the brothers to please stand up and move forward and fill all the gaps. There are people at the back that are standing, so it'll give them space, and we have a little bit bigger crowd today. Form absolute safs and rows. So if you form all the rows this way, there's no gaps left. If there's a gap in the front, as if you're preparing for salah, please. Jazakumullah khair. Where is it? You coming here? Okay, the funeral is coming here. Okay. Okay. طيب بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وبعد ربي شرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. In the end, I wanted to take this opportunity because many of the student associations, they spoke to me and they brought up these concerns to me. And I've been talking to different imams on the ground in Georgia. And I think it is time that maybe a few of the brothers within the community that are well-to-do take a path and they set up like a charity or something, hire a person that needs to be hired and get this task done. Because it is not going to be done. And again, the imams like myself or Imam Arshad can be involved in terms of the guidance, in terms of how to structure it, in terms of even on-site halaqas. Like I've already, Tuesday halaqas that we're doing in our masjid, as soon as the school starts, I will stop that Tuesday halaqa because I will be doing that halaqa on campus. Right? For me, that's where my future is. That's where the future of this masjid is going to be. You will still have the halaqas on Thursdays, Fridays, and Sundays, but one of my halaqas will be dedicated to serving the student associations either in Georgia State or Georgia Tech or alternating, right? And we're finalizing those details. But again, that's something I'm doing on my personal accord as part of being the masjid. And alhamdulillah, the masjid accommodates that. But that's not enough. One halaqah is not enough. I mean, they're surrounded with fasad 24/7, and 1 hour of halaqah, inshallah, will go somewhere, but it's not going to protect the imam. So as a community members, I mean, those of you that are here, if you have the drive, get together, get in touch with me, and let's put together some resources and really, really do something productive to protect our next generations. And it can start with 1 or 2 centers or 1 or 2 universities, and we can grow it into every university in Georgia. And hey, let's think big, the entire United States, the entire Canada. Right? This is where our next musallis are going to be. Either we're going to lose them there or we're not going to have anyone. And the times when you and I and my generation who are in their 40s, they went to university, it was a very different time. There was no mass indoctrination of liberal agendas being shoved down on our throats. None of that was there. Today is a very, very different time. We ask Allah that He protects the iman of our youth. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that on this blessed day that Allah gives us the tawfiq to truly serve His ummah. And we ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes us from the torchbearers of Islam and protecting the iman and faith of all of our children. We ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows our masajids to be centers where our youth find safe havens. And we ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protects them on campus as they strive in their pursuit of knowledge and ilm, and protects them from deviance. We ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives every single one of us tawfiq to protect our own families and to protect their imans and to protect them and be role models within our households so our children can be inspired by our efforts. We ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala open our hearts to the message of the Quran and gives us true hidayah and tawfiq, a tawfiq of a nature that after that there is no misguidance. We ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives every single one of us that which we want if it is good for us in this dunya, and saves us from that which we want if it is not good for us in our akhirah. Allah provides every single one of us the success in this dunya and the success in the akhirah, and forgives all of our relatives who have passed away and raises their ranks and makes them from the salihin and makes their graves pieces of garden. اللهم صل وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. عباد الله إن الله يأمركم بالعدل والإحسان والإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون فاذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون وأقيموا الصلاة.